Hello, and welcome to my channel, Hopewell Stories. What would you do if a stray dog stared at you like it knew something you didn't? That's exactly what happened to Maya on a cold Tuesday evening in November. Maya was walking home from her part-time job at the grocery store. The sky was gray, and a light drizzle made the streets glisten under the yellow street lights. She pulled her hoodie tighter around her, shivering. Her phone battery was at 2%. And she was already late for her shift at the diner the next morning. Life had been tough since her sister, Lila, disappeared 6 months ago. Lila was 21, 2 years older than Maya. She had long curly hair, freckles, and a laugh that could light up a dark room. One night she went out with friends. She never came home. The police searched, handed out flyers, questioned people. But after a few weeks, the case went cold. Everyone said she probably ran away. But Maya knew better. Lila would never leave without saying goodbye. Not to her. That night, as Maya turned the corner onto Elm Street, she saw it, a dog. It was a medium-sized mutt, mostly black with patches of brown and white. One ear stood up, the other flopped to the side. It sat on the sidewalk staring right at her, not barking, not moving, just watching. Maya stopped. "Hey, buddy," she said softly. "You lost." The dog didn't answer, of course, but it stood up slowly, took a few steps forward, then looked back at her, like it wanted her to follow. No thanks," Maya said, stepping around it. "I've got to get home." But the dog didn't leave. It walked beside her, keeping pace. When she sped up, it sped up. When she stopped, it stopped. It wasn't aggressive. It wasn't scared. It just stayed. After 2 blocks, Maya couldn't ignore it anymore. "Okay, what do you want?" she asked, hands on her hips. The dog barked once, short and sharp, then turned and trotted down a narrow alley between two old buildings. After a few steps, it looked back at her again. Maya hesitated. Following a strange dog into a dark alley, that's how horror movies start. But something in the dog's eyes, deep, brown, almost human, made her pause. It wasn't threatening. It was urgent. And then, a memory flashed in her mind. Lila had always loved dogs. When they were kids, she used to bring home every stray she saw. "They're just looking for someone to care," she'd say. Once, she spent 3 days searching for a lost puppy, even though their mom said no pets. That puppy, a black and brown mutt, with one floppy ear. Maya's heart pounded. "No," she whispered, "it can't be." But she started walking after the dog. The alley led to an old part of town, abandoned warehouses, broken fences, and overgrown weeds. The air smelled like wet concrete and rust. Maya's phone had died, so she had no flashlight. She used the dim glow from a distant streetlight to see where she was going. The dog stayed ahead, glancing back every few seconds, as if to make sure she was still following. "Where are you taking me?" Maya whispered. They walked for 10 minutes. Then the dog stopped in front of a red brick building with boarded-up windows. Graffiti covered the walls. A rusted sign above the door read, "Haven Storage, Units 120. The dog sat down and looked at her. Maya's breath caught. This place looked dangerous. She wanted to turn back. But then she noticed something. A small piece of paper stuck under the front door. She stepped closer. It was a flyer, and on it was a photo of Lila. Maya's hands shook as she pulled it out. The paper was damp, the ink smudged, but she recognized her sister's face instantly. At the bottom, someone had written in messy handwriting, "She was here. Ask the dog." Maya looked down at the dog. Its tail thumped once on the ground. "You knew her?" she asked, her voice breaking. The dog stood, walked to a side door, half open, creaking in the wind, and looked back. Maya followed. Inside, it was dark and cold. The smell of mold and old wood filled the air. Boxes were stacked everywhere. Dust floated in the dim light from a high window. "Lila," Maya called, her voice echoing. "Lila, are you here?" No answer. Then a sound. A soft thump from the back of the building. Maya's heart raced. She moved slowly, stepping over broken glass and fallen beams. The dog stayed close, guiding her. At the end of the hall was a metal door, locked, but the dog scratched at it. Maya pulled out her keys and used the largest one to try to pry the lock. It didn't work. She looked around and grabbed a piece of rebar from the floor. With all her strength, she jammed it into the door's handle and pulled. The lock snapped. She pushed the door open. Inside was a small room, a mattress on the floor, a blanket, a water bottle, and in the corner, someone lying still. Lila, Maya screamed, rushing forward. She dropped to her knees. Her sister was pale, thin, her hair tangled, but she was breathing. Lila, it's me, Maya. Lila's eyes fluttered open. They were glassy, weak, but when they focused on Maya, they filled with tears. Maya, she whispered. I'm here. I'm here. Maya hugged her, crying. I found you. I found you. Lila clung to her. I didn't think anyone would come. Maya helped her sit up. What happened? Where have you been? Lila took a shaky breath. I was walking home that night. Someone grabbed me, put a bag over my head, brought me here. They kept me locked up. I tried to escape, but the door was too strong. I wrote messages, slipped them under doors when they weren't looking. I didn't know if anyone would see them. And the dog? Maya asked. Lila smiled weakly. He came one night, through a broken window. I fed him scraps. He stayed. I named him Shadow. He'd go out during the day. I think he was trying to find help. I told him, find my sister, find Maya. Maya looked at the dog, who was sitting quietly by the door, watching them. You did it, Shadow, she said, tears in her eyes. You found me. They called the police from a neighbor's house. Officers arrived within minutes. An ambulance took Lila to the hospital. She had dehydration, bruises, and a sprained ankle, but the doctors said she would recover. The police searched the storage building. They found evidence linking it to a missing persons case in another city. 2 men were arrested later that week. They had been kidnapping young women, holding them until they could be moved. Lila was the only one who had survived long enough to be found. At the hospital, Maya never left Lila's side. You saved me, Lila said, holding her sister's hand. Shadow brought you to me. Maya shook her head. No, you saved each other. You kept him alive. He kept hope alive. Weeks passed. Lila got stronger. She started therapy. The sisters moved into a small apartment together. Shadow, he wasn't going anywhere. They adopted him officially. He slept at the foot of their bed every night. People asked Maya how she knew to follow the dog. I didn't, she always said. But I remembered what Lila taught me. Sometimes help comes in unexpected ways. Sometimes it has fur and 4 legs. One evening, as the sun set behind the city skyline, Maya sat on the apartment steps with Shadow beside her. Lila joined them, wrapped in a warm blanket. You know, Lila said, scratching Shadow behind his good ear. I used to think I saved him, but really, he saved me. Maya smiled. Maybe it was both. They sat in silence, watching the sky turn orange and pink. And Shadow, he looked up at them both, tail wagging slowly, like he knew he was exactly where he was meant to be. The payoff. So here's the question. Have you ever ignored a small moment, something strange, something quiet, that might have led you somewhere important? Because sometimes, the smallest signs, a look, a feeling, a stray dog in the rain, can lead to the biggest miracles. If this story moved you, share it with someone you love. Comment below. Have you ever followed your gut and found something amazing? And if you want more real-life mysteries, lost and found stories, or tales of hope in the dark, hit subscribe. Because sometimes, the next story could be about you. Because in a world full of noise, it's the quiet moments that shout the loudest. And sometimes, all it takes is one dog, one step, one sister, who refused to give up.